Oh man, it finally arrived, the QWT Challenger MK3. This thing's an animal. I know that there were a few of you guys asking if I was going to get it, and sure enough, I did. Now, I did get the base model. I know there is a pro version out there that it's upwards of a couple, $100, like $800, and I just didn't want to go that steep, but this is still kind of pricey. I will leave a link down in the description if you guys want to pick one of these up. It is pricey, I'm going to give you that. Now, if you're like me, you typically have to pick between a flywheeler or a springer. Now, let's just say both of them shoot 150 FPS. We all know that flywheelers typically are less accurate than a springer. So some people like the accuracy, some people like the speed. And this is basically a combination of both of those together. Now, my version, the full auto, it's okay, and you'll see it's not the 10 rounds per second that I'd hope for, but it's still really good. But it combines that accuracy with the electronics so that you can get, a good rate of speed that's firing, you get a quick snappy trigger, and you get that accuracy. But I've always felt like, again, here, I'd use an MK3 because it had good accuracy, it had good speed, but sometimes I felt like the accuracy of just a standard Adventure Force, would just beat it. That's what I always felt like. And after I've seen this thing, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to pick this thing up and see if it really stands up to what, these things are all about. Let's just hop right in and go right to the range on this thing. So we're going to talk about the internals and everything like that here in a little bit, but this does have 3 different firing modes. The first one is just going to be your standard single shot, which is, your typical just 1-2, as much as you pull the trigger. The next is going to be 3-round burst. Then the final one is going to be full auto. I typically found myself shooting this on single shot mostly, just because it was crisp, it was good. The 3-round is good, but I wish the 3-round burst was quicker so that they're actually a little bit more tighter. But you can hear when we get to the 3-round and the full auto, you would expect it to be like, shoot, 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 much like a, Worker Phoenix 2.0, where if you're shooting 3 or 2 or 1, those darts are really, really close to each other, but I get it. That is a flywheeler. You don't have to compress that spring and go back. But look at the accuracy on this. I cannot stress enough, guys, how accurate this thing is. It is literally like shooting just like a Nexus Pro. That's what I feel like. Conquest, all of those. It is just dead on accurate every single time. I don't even think out of the 10 or 12 mags that I shot on this before I did this video, I don't even think I shot anyone that was, funky, that went funny. Maybe 1 or 2, but maybe that could be the darts. But overall, look at that. Single, triple shot, full auto. Yeah, it is super, super accurate. So go back and watch that if you guys want to. We are going to do some more tests on this a little bit later. Distance and a little more distance on accuracy to see how far I can actually shoot this thing. Now, if you saw, it was coming in right about 150 FPS. We are using, of course, the classic Dart Zone Maxes here. I know the kind of FPSs vary depending on which darts you use. The best results that I got out of this were using the Dragon darts, and those things were upwards of like 180, but those are super, super pricey. So I don't recommend shooting those unless you got the cash to shoot them. But yeah, those are like high end. With these, they were super on sale just recently. I think they were about $8 per packet here, and I was like, oof, I gotta pick up some of those. That's great. So first things first is let's show how this thing breaks down. Literally, there is 2 kind of pole pins right here, one in the front, one in the rear, very similar to other blasters that we've seen in the past. And when you do that, it reveals the inside. Now, again, this is electronic, so you do have the front kind of battery tray there. Now, looking at it, you might think, oh yeah, I got tons of room. Not really. The way that the curvature of this top piece goes, you don't really have a lot of room up there. So I ended up using some of the same batteries that I've used for the Nightingale, but the 750 and the 650 worked great. But I'll try other options here later, but these ones worked perfectly fine for me. I know with everything that's going on in here, you're definitely going to need a couple of these to, fire a full day if using this, if you're planning on shooting this a lot. But I like that. It looks great. Again, that selector switch is on the left-hand side of the blaster. Now, it does come with a little cap. That cap, for me, was not glued on. I had to glue it on and just hopefully it stayed, but you could see mine actually came off, and I can't find it. So you can see we have X, which is don't shoot, single, triple, and full auto there on the left. The mag itself, this is, I know, a pretty big kind of sticking point is a lot of these blasters have mags that are specific for them, so they really are not compatible with anything that I've had. And I have a lot of different mag types, and of course I got a ton of Talon mags, and yeah, these just don't work. Not even the same. I mean, it looks kind of the same, but the one for this is just way different. I did pick up a few more of these. Hopefully they'll get here in the next month or so, but these hold about 20. But anytime I went over about 17, 16 darts, I had some feeding issues. So I stuck around 17, maybe 16, and I never had a feeding issue again. So yeah, they claim they can hold a lot, but just go with about 17, 16, and you shouldn't have an issue. But definitely pick up more of these if you can. They typically run around 10 bucks, 11 bucks or so. The mag release is going to be on the left-hand side of the blaster. It is not, of course, Abby on each side. So anybody who is right-handed has a little bit more of an advantage on this thing. I tended to accidentally grab this with my left hand and hit that button, and it would actually drop the mag. So the mag well itself is pretty loose. So once you hit it, it's dropping. So I was like, please don't break the mag. It's the only one I got currently. The grip itself is great. I think the ergonomics of it are really, really good. It fits my adult hands well. Not sure how well this will fit a little Nerfer, but yeah, for my adult hands, yeah, it is great. The front is basically two pieces. So as you take this apart, the front has that black shroud, which I'll probably end up spray painting orange, or maybe even 3D printing a different orange one. But inside it has a kind of a white end scar piece that kind of locks everything in there. And if you look, it might be hard to see. It is a scar barrel, so maybe that helps with the accuracy. I'm not sure how much it touches the darts or affects the darts, but the performance, again, the accuracy of this thing is nuts. But I like that. This thing is super, super easy to break down. You have the right-hand side kind of clear. Now, one of the things to note about this is when you're firing it, you may be able to pull this thing back really easy. It's because everything is already engaged and it's ready to go. So when you pull that trigger, it is shooting. It's not a pull the trigger, cock it, and then shoot. It is a pull the trigger, it's already cocked. Then when you pull the trigger, it shoots. So it makes for a real interesting kind of shooting experience. And, you know, with most springers that are out there nowadays, that's really what gives it that accuracy. And with that snappiness of the trigger, oh, it feels so good shooting it, because when you pull, you're shooting. It's not pulling, driving, and then shooting, which would give you a little bit of a lag, right? Now, I know some people can say, hey, it's really loud. Well, it's definitely not as loud as a normal flywheeler. I'm going to give you that. But it does, that whole mechanism back there does remind me of, you know, some airsoft blasters that are out there. Pretty much it almost does that same thing. Primarily almost every single airsoft blaster that I know of, any of the competitive ones, are all, yeah, pretty much driven kind of with this same technology. Kind of, right? I used to be a big airsofter, but yeah, I just like this stuff a little bit better. It does have a stock in the back, which is adjustable. However, mine is quite flimsy. I wish it would have had metal rails, but it is what it is, and you can't adjust it by just flipping the front screw or the front little tab there, pushing it in or back. But again, it is quite flimsy. I say for the most part, it felt great just in its stock form right here. Right here, oh, that felt super, super good. No complaints at all like this. That actually feels really good. So, you know, overall, guys, this is everything that I thought it was going to be, and then some. You know, I feel like I no longer have to pick between a flywheeler or a normal Springer-powered blaster. I can get the best of both worlds here. And, you know, the mags not being too terribly expensive, I could pretty much run 4 mags as well as this, or maybe 5 mags and that, and be ready to rock and roll. But the accuracy of this, guys, is just unbelievable. I always, when I shoot Springers, I'm just like, man, that's just so great. Look at how great that thing shoots. And then I shoot a typical flywheeler, and I'm like, okay, it's all right, right? It's okay. You get a few good ones, and but this thing, every single time, you guys saw right there, was an absolute dart, absolute laser beam. One thing to note, again, about this prime right here is, you know, typically when you're shooting, it's always in that primed position. So sometimes you need to deprime it when you're all the way done. You don't want to leave it cocked for a couple days if you don't get back to it. So the way to do that is you want to put your blaster on X, so don't shoot, put the mag in, and then you want to just hold it, right? And then pull the trigger, and then push it to the front position, or the next position, the single shot. And did you hear that? Now, typically, it will do the same thing, but it won't have that normal blast sound. It'll kind of be like a half shot sound so that everything is all released. And if you try to pull this back, it's very, very difficult. But when the thing is primed, this is actually easy to pull back and kind of look, especially if you have to prime your first dart. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there because de-priming this and keeping that spring in the open position when you're wanting to put it away is huge to the longevity of this blaster. But there you go, guys. This is just a quick, look at the Challenger MK3. This thing is an animal. This is almost my new favorite blaster. I would love to use it in the next war that I have coming up. I might use it if I can have time to spray paint this or 3D print one, and then I need more mags. The mags aren't going to get here in time, so maybe it'll be the next one. But still, whew, this is worth every penny of this thing. So I don't know, guys. I would say pick one up. If you guys can pick one up again, leave it. I leave it down in the description of where I got it. But let me know what you guys think of this bad boy. I'm always kind of curious. Thanks again, Fox fans. Whew.